So this is the 51 Willys Jeep that my dad just finished up. I don't know if I had any part in any of the machine work on this now that I think about it. So it's kind of all been the cleaning guy, but we wanted to get a follow-up on it. It looks like it runs about as smooth as can be. So we'll try to get him in here in a second.
We love doing these old engine restorations here at Jamsey and hearing all of the stories of the memories and the family history that are tied to them. And it got me wondering about my own family history, so we partnered with MyHeritage DNA as a sponsor on today's video. MyHeritage is a leading global family history and DNA service that makes exploring your family history easier than ever. The kit is super easy to use with a simple cheek swab that takes just 2 minutes. MyHeritage covers more regions than any other test, and your results will give you an ethnicity estimate with a percentage breakdown of your origins across 42 supported ethnicities and 2,114 geographic regions. You'll even be able to find new relatives from across the world based on shared DNA matches. MyHeritage has committed in its privacy policy to never sell or license genetic data. In addition to DNA testing, MyHeritage offers a platform that makes it easy to build your family tree and research your family history. While waiting for the results, I took advantage of some of the photo features on the platform to enhance and colorize this photo of my dad, aka the cleaning guy, on Christmas sometime in the early 60s, as well as a picture of his dad and siblings that would have been from around 1915. Based on what I've been told from my parents and my grandparents, I'm expecting to see a strong origins in England as well as possibly Eastern Europe. The results are in, so let's take a look. Let's go. Nicholas, you are 34.2% Irish, Scottish, and Welsh. Interesting. 31.4% Scandinavian. Wow. 27% Eastern European, which I was kind of expecting. 4.4% Finnish, Finland. Wow. Lots of that kind of Northern Europe area. 3% Ashkenazi Jewish. I don't even know how to say that. But yeah, lots of European origins there. Kind of what I expected to see. So we have tons of DNA matches. Parents' first cousin, grandparents' first cousin. Honestly, all kinds of people that I had no idea that I was even related to. So, it could be interesting to kind of reach out to some of these people. Maybe some of them watch our videos, who knows? MyHeritage has a promotion right now. Click the link in the description box or scan the QR code and use the coupon code JIMSAUTO for free shipping. Thanks again to MyHeritage for sponsoring this video.
Not terrible bad. It's kind of grungy, about like these old engines are when you get into them. And maybe out of bolts are already loose here. Looks like we're missing a bolt there. Yeah, there we go. That one is twisted off. The oil filter canister off here. Eroded so bad. Taking out the temperature sending unit. See, we got an oil line on the back here, needs to come off. Oh, what do we got? It's had just straight water in it for coolant. Pull out the dipstick. Pull it out. Yeah, road draft tube. That has been off at some point in time. It just does not want to come loose. There we go. Yeah, that was just wedged under one of those crank bolts. There, we have it. And you scrape up just chunks of sludge. Okay, we'll pull the timing cover off. A pickup tube that just floated with the level of the oil. Then I can take the oil slinger off. See those spots there? So I don't know if those are, they almost look like they've been hot. Look at how rusty and dry this all is. Look at the grooves that has worn into the cylinder wall where that pin was running up and down the side. And out comes the oil pump. Everything is so slick and slimy on this. Yeah. And there we have it. Now, rope seal. Those are really gummed up. Look at all that varnish sludge buildup on it. Boy, those valves are shot. That's the fuel pump lobe. It's showing a little bit of wear. I've called it galley forever, and I'm going to stay with galley regardless what people say. Okay, there's our front plate. Nasty, dirty, crusted up, cupped out, wearing away. And the cam bearing is out. They are worn out. So, I think with that being said, I don't know as though there's much more to show here. Let's go ahead and, I think off camera, I'll just pick everything up here, get it in the oven, get things baking, and we'll come back another day after we have things clean and start doing some machine work on this. We magnafluxed this and found that this crank is cracked. It's not going to be any good to use for anything other than the leg on your coffee table. My buddy Bruce from up here at Camfield came up with some cranks. It does magnaflux and check out okay. That appears quite uneven, but as I rolled around, it doesn't have a lot of bend to it. I think that's plenty straight to grind. Let's see if we can get it in there. Not perfect, but it's acceptable. We're going to let it go with that. We are now ready to adjust the chucks back to center and do the mains. There we are. And we have a finished crankshaft. I've got to make this hole smaller, and then I'm going to go over on the hone and I'm going to hone it out back to standard size again. I'm going to take a 10 thousandths feeler gauge and I'm going to put that under one side of this cap. Now I'm going to make my last cut. But if I put a slight angle on there, it'll also help pull the sides in so I can make closer to a round circle. Just take that sharp edge off. Now the same thing with the rod itself. There I am. It's round. Those came out very nice. Because this engine, you know, we did have the issue with that wrist pin had gone up and down the side of the cylinder. We determined that these are offset rods, and I think the last time that was worked on, they had put the rod in, the piston in the wrong direction. At the very least, the rod was in the wrong direction. I don't know if the piston was, but that forced the pin over against the cylinder wall, and it was just long enough coming outside of that piston, just beyond the edge, that it would run up and down that cylinder wall. And I have taken the twist out of it. I'm very happy with where we've come out here, because what matters is the big end rotating weight and the total reciprocating weight. So this should be a very smooth running engine. Wow, this is really close. I'm going to vote for let's leave well enough alone on that. And now let's add our flywheel. Okay, it's now saying we're 2.9 grams out on this side, 15 grams on this side. Wow, we are really close. So now we've added the pressure plate to the assembly. Oh, look there. You know, pretty soon we'll have the whole engine on here. Have you ever seen one of these run when you have the pistons flying around? We are really good at that point. I think we better quit. I stuck a 3/8 inch lock washer on there just for fun to see what would happen. I found a washer that weighed just about the same as the washer I had put in here, and I welded that onto the pressure plate. And look at there, we came in 0.8 of a gram out on each end. That is actually close enough to be a very high horsepower race motor. I don't think you could ask for a much better balance job than what this has turned out to be. The first thing I need to do with this block is get all these broken bolts out of here. I'll put just a little penetrating oil on there while that's still hot.
Watch me sway, darkness falls, and we all pray, hoping for the light.
Okay, there we have the first one out. When you're taking broken bolts out, patience goes a long ways. There we have the second one. And they actually came out nice. The threads are not messed up at all. I think we have it. Look at that. Here's a piece of the bottom of it. There it is. Valve seats installed, just about flush with the surface there, just like I want it to be. Here, almost at the very, very bottom, we've run into all kinds of rust area where this cylinder wall is rusted away from the inside of the water jacket out. We've got problems. Here, I think that gave me a nice bevel on there. So I'm going to start with using some good Loctite sleeve and bearing retainer. At least the last inch, if not inch and a half, is completely coated. There it is. Four cylinders, rough board here. All four cylinders are chamfered. And yes, indeed, that looks pretty good. I'm going to say about 3.5 thousandths, 3.5 there. Our spec was 2.5 to 4.5, so I'm happy with where we're at. Okay, at that point there, I have my seat. Let's vacuum test this and see if they hold. I'm not expecting this to be perfect because we're going to be losing some vacuum around the valve guide. but we must not be losing much for it to pull as high as that is. I have run the profilometer through it, and between the combination of my old boomer ways that I've always used on blocks and making maybe some little adjustments more than I want to admit to Nicholas about using his profilometer, I'm confident we do have a very acceptable finish on these cylinders. But anyway, just between us, don't let Nicholas know that I've been using his tools and maybe actually learning a little bit from the new ways and incorporating them into my old ways. I have all of my heads, or all of my guides, right up to the straight edge. We know the end two are the correct depth, so the two in the middle will be also. Yeah, that's looking good. There, we have all 4 seat pockets cut. There you have it. Seats are installed. Just that quick, it's clean. Oh, there we go. There, we're pulling vacuum on that. It's time for the final assembly. There's that one in place. Down below is in place. And I can see here that my oil hole lines up real well. Gonna have to talk to that kid of mine about using up the entire tube before you move on to the next one, and then throw away that empty tube when you're done. Let's start putting our crankshaft in by putting these little dowels in place that everybody was sure I was going to lose. This rope rear seal. That has to be worked and shaped to fit down into that groove. Get that down, seated in where it belongs. Now the center main bearing, a little more difficult to get into place. Lay our crankshaft in. At this point, I've got the upper half of that rope seal in the back there. I laid the crank in. I have my center main cap marked number 2. 2 goes towards the front. Gotta make sure you put the bolts in here. Now we should be ready to put the cap on. And we need to slip these pieces of rubber down in the sides. Thrust plate. We're going to bump the crankshaft forward, backward, backward, and forward again. That should align our thrust cap. Oh yeah, look at that. It's going in nice. We probably ought to put the oiler in. If I can get that to the point that it has a nice sizzle, it should go right on for me. There we go. Put a bead of silicone on my gasket. I'm going to install this spacer that goes on, the oil slinger, and the Woodruff key. I think we're good to go here. There's that one in the hole. There it goes. Number 3. Number 2. Back and forth. Helps line the cap up to the rod itself. Screw that back on like that with the new gasket. And last, we can't forget to put the drain plug in with the new gasket. Finish the valve seats themselves. Okay, there I have both keepers in place. Release my tool. There's one. I like that. They all feel good. So what do you say we get this head assembled and be done with this project? There we have it.
Baby, got yourself loose.
Oil filter canister also has to go on with the head bolts.
Keep me up every night.
3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. There, the head is torqued on. Work that so the lubrication is into it good. Drop that one in. Feels good. There's our new thermostat. Let's go ahead and put that in. There. So I think that's good right there. Hopefully this will be running in the next few days here. We will try to get some footage of this once it's done and at least add it as a small clip to a future video.
So what do you know about it?
What do I know about it?
Yeah.
I know
You did all the work on it. I didn't do any of the work on this thing.
I know I'm glad it's running.
So tell me what you see.
Well, it's back in, painted bright red. Looks like they've done a nice job installing it back in the vehicle here. They put in a new aluminum radiator, electric fan, along with the original belt-driven fan. Looks like they've got a, what brand air filter is that?
K&N or something?
Yeah, K&N, I couldn't say that. Looks like they probably put a K&N oil filter on it. Looks like all new exhaust. Put an electric fuel pump on it, so they do have a regulator on here to keep the pressure regulated, because the electric pump will put more pressure in than these old style carburetors will handle.
Talk about this here.
Well, we had one a while back, we did. In fact, the last one of these we did, customer put a hose on just like this, but they didn't cut it down the right length, and it had a hoop-de-doo in the top of it here. Airlocked the motor, and they burned up the brand new motor we did for them on the initial startup. Right while they was trying to do the cam brake in and everything on it, it made an airlock in there, did not circulate, and they completely fried that brand new motor. So I was glad to see on this one that the hose does not have that hoop-de-doo in it, creating an airlock, because that'll sure create problems. But yeah, this is a pretty neat old Jeep pickup. Has a, of course, these are radial tires now, but he was telling me that BF Goodrich makes the replacement tires for these look just like the originals, correct size and all. I'm kind of surprised they even have a brand new on here for a spare.
Well, I mean, guy owns a tire shop, right?
Yeah. Has chrome lug nuts, all 5 on each wheel. So 1/10 of a horsepower per lug nut times 20 lug nuts is good for 2 horsepower.
Which is about 20% of what the engine probably makes.
Yeah.
So, and he said they're doing a bed liner or something.
Yeah, they've got this taped off right now. They're going to do a bed liner. Has the original Willys tailgate.
Sounds pretty good. Runs smooth.
It does run smooth. Yeah. Little trailer hitch on here. I wouldn't think you'd want to pull too much.
Do you know if they're leaving it kind of a rat rod kind of thing, or
this is the way they're going to leave it. Yeah, they got it mechanically sound, but they're going to leave it looking just the way you see it right now. I see.
And this is a 51, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a 51.
51 Willys Jeep pickup.
They've put some aftermarket gauges in so they can monitor what the engine is doing, because probably the original gauges are most likely not working at this point. But yeah, the electric fan's making way more noise than the engine itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's really running nice. Smooth.
So you feel like you did a good job?
Yeah, I think we did good with what we had to work with. Yeah, that engine was pretty rough, but we managed to make it work again.
Everybody always wants a follow-up on our videos,
Yeah.
and we don't usually get the opportunity to, honestly.
We very seldom get to see any engine that we have built. Quite honestly, the only time we see one is when there's something wrong with it and we have to
fix something,
Yeah.
fix a leak, or
fix some little thing that's not quite right, because otherwise they put them in and drive them and we never hear from them until they're ready to do another engine.
Okay.
So. But yeah, listening to it here out the exhaust, it sounds like it's clicking them off just like it's supposed to.
Alrighty.
Very happy to see this running.
Hopefully it runs for a long time.
I would be surprised if they ever wear it out.
So I don't remember exactly what you said, and maybe you covered it in one of the earlier videos, since we did a whole series on this engine. And it's kind of confusing because our customer, it's actually, he's doing it for his boss, or?
I'm not sure the complete deal, but our customer that brought us the engine is doing it for the tire shop, and the vehicle is owned by the owner of the
Tire shop.
or maybe
Somewhere.
upper management anyway.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of convoluted there, but the story is it's the vehicle is what that guy learned to drive in?
Yeah, it's a vehicle that his dad had when he was a kid, and him and his sister both learned to drive this vehicle when they were little kids.
So to me, it's kind of like the Courier.
Yeah, it's like us in the Ford Courier that I got to drive home off the showroom floor on my learner's permit when I wasn't even quite 16 yet.
And I learned to drive, that's how I learned to drive,
Yeah.
probably driving up the ditch road when I was 8 or 9.
Yeah, you and Alicia both learned to drive in it, going up and down the ditch road when we were irrigating on the farm.
And you can't figure out why I don't want you to get rid of it.
It's
But
a piece
it's
of
'cause-
junk, I want to be rid of it.
Yeah, but someday I could do this with it. So I don't know, it's kind of cool to, that's what I like about what we do is, you know, giving life back to this 70-year-old engine.
Yeah.
I mean, and vehicle, honestly. So it doesn't look it's not the shiniest restoration,
No,
but
is it functional for anything? No. You would never use this for anything other than just a play toy, the nostalgia of having the old vehicle.
well, hopefully it makes the guy happy.
Yeah, it's the enjoyment you get out of it, and you know, jogging your old memories of things from years gone by.
Well, there's always like a smell or a
Yeah.
you know, a sound that kind
You know,
of
our old Courier, I can get in it, and it sometimes has the same smell in it, just like my dad's old 49 Studebaker that he had when I was a little kid.
yeah. It's kind of
just-
weird how that'll
Yeah.
trigger a memory.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's what this does for the guy, and like I said, I hope it lasts a long time. I don't know how he could ever wear it out.
Yeah, I don't know
you
how you could ever drive this enough to wear it out. They take care of it, you know, keep it up to date. Why, it'll last a long time.
So anyway, on to the next one.
Real quick, before we wrap up the video, we want to give another thanks to MyHeritage for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description box or scan the QR code and use the coupon code JIMSAUTO for free shipping.